A single mom tried to stop her daughter from begging him to be daddy for a day. Didn't know he was a CEO. But before we dive in, drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from. And if this story speaks to you, hit that like and subscribe button. We've got more inspiring stories coming your way. Madeline Carter, 30, was exhausted. Between managing 2 cleaning jobs, tutoring part-time, and caring for her daughter, Lily, she hadn't had a proper sit-down meal in weeks. Lily, 6, giggled at the sight of whipped cream on her waffles. Today was supposed to be different. A rare Sunday off. A treat for Lily. The small-town diner smelled like buttered pancakes and brewed dreams. Twice. But then came the check. Madeline's smile faded as her card was declined. She could feel the eyes of the waiter and the people behind her. "I'm so sorry," I thought. "It's okay, Mummy," Lily whispered. "We can go." But just before Madeline could apologize and leave in embarrassment, a voice spoke from the corner booth. "I've got it." A man in his mid-30s stood up, handing his card to the waiter with a quiet calm. "Can you be my daddy for a day?" He had soft eyes, a dark navy coat, and an expensive-looking watch he didn't seem to notice. His name was Mason, though Madeline wouldn't know that yet. And it looks like this little one was really enjoying her waffles. Madeline tried to protest. "No, you really don't have to." "I want to," he said kindly, crouching near Lily. Lily beamed. Madeline gasped. Lily Macy chuckled, taken aback. Quite the request. She couldn't stop replaying the scene in her mind. Madeline wanted the ground to swallow her whole. "I'm so sorry. It's all right." He smiled. "Kids are honest. I like that." She didn't have time, money, or trust left to gamble. What she didn't know, Mason Wells wasn't just a kind stranger. He was the CEO of one of the biggest family retail chains in the state, traveling incognito to scout customer service locations for a new pilot program. Staring at the crayon drawing Lily had secretly placed in his briefcase, and this little diner was on his list. Later that afternoon, Madeline returned home, still rattled. Lily had gone to bed after drawing a stick figure of family her Madeline and a man labeled Mr. Waffle. She stared at it now on the fridge with a mix of heartbreak and amusement. The truth was, Madeline hadn't dated since Lily's father left, this time dressed down in jeans and a hoodie. But her daughter wanted a father, and somehow, Mason had entered their lives like a calm breeze in a storm. At that very moment, across town, Mason was sitting in his hotel room. He didn't know how she managed it, but there it was, a pink heart, a stick figure embassy, a smiling child. Something tugged in him. He hadn't seen his own family in years. Not since his brother tried to sue him out of the business. I owed Lily one more waffle. Not since the tabloids called him heartless for not settling. But Lily's little drawing, it was the first thing that made him feel seen. How he asked her questions, how he listened. 2 days later, Mason returned to the diner. He sat at the same booth, waited, hoped. He used terms like market testing and distribution gaps, while casually discussing waffles. And then they arrived. Madeline, again looking rushed and tired. Lily, clutching a worn backpack. She saw him, froze. "You again?" He smiled. She sighed, but there was a softness behind her eyes. "I don't want charity." "It's not charity, it's breakfast." "On me." Again, Lily ran straight to him. "You came back." Couldn't break a promise. As they ate, Madeline noticed things. How Mason talked to Lily like she mattered. Most men barely made eye contact with Lily, or avoided mentioning she existed altogether. But this man, he had Lily giggling and drawing castles on napkin. Still, something about him didn't add up. His hands looked too soft for manual work. "Are you in sales?" she asked. Mason smiled. "Something like that evening." Madeline called her best friend, Harper. "You're going to think I'm insane," she began. "Girl, you always sounded sane. There's this guy Mason, he paid for our meal twice. Lily's obsessed, but I think he's someone." "Like who?" "Batman." Madeline laughed. "No, I mean he's hiding something. He dresses too casual but talks too polished. Maybe he's rich." Madeline rolled her eyes. "Yeah, well, rich men don't hang around diners buying waffles for strangers' kids, unless they want something." That line haunted Madeline, because if Mason did want something, what was it? Later that week, Madeline arrived at her cleaning job in a downtown building, an executive tower filled with shiny floors, leather chairs, and the smell of money. She clocked in, pushed her cart, and started scrubbing. And that's when she saw him, Mason, in a boardroom, wearing a tailored suit, talking to a group of people who were clearly listening very closely. She ducked quickly, heart racing. What was he doing here? She found an empty hallway and Googled the nameplate she'd seen near the boardroom. Wells & Co. Family-Owned Retail Corporation, CEO Mason Wells. Her hand trembled. He wasn't just a kind man in a hoodie. He was a CEO, and she had no idea what he was doing with him or what he really wanted. The next time they met at the diner, Madeline was distant. Mason noticed right away something wrong. She looked at him carefully. "Why didn't you tell me who you were?" He blinked. "Who I am. Mason Wells, CEO of Wells & Co." He sighed. "I wanted to tell you, but I didn't want that to be the first thing you knew about me." Madeline crossed her arms. "Why not?" Because I didn't want to be another man trying to impress you with money. I just wanted to be someone Lily liked. She softened slightly, but her guard was still up. You could have just been honest. I didn't know how. At first, it was waffles. Then it became something else. I didn't plan any of this. Silence. Then Lily ran over, holding a paper crown made of napkins. Look, he's King Waffle now. Madeline almost laughed. Almost. But her heart was confused. Was Mason pretending, or was he the first real thing to happen to her in years? A week later, Madeline received a letter in her mailbox, an official invitation to a Wells & Co. Foundation Gala, black tie charity auction, and a name written in gold foil. Just us. I'd be honored, Mason. Inside was a note: if you're willing to give me one real evening, no waffles, no titles. She hesitated. What did she have to wear? What if she showed up and people laughed? What if it was another version of being invited to the palace only to be made fun of? But then she remembered Lily's face. Mommy, her daughter, had whispered one night, "You deserve someone who sees your magic. No labels, just elegance, maybe. Just maybe." This was that someone. She walked into the ballroom like a vision, hair pulled back, simple navy dress, and across the room Mason froze. He walked toward her, forgetting the crowd, the cameras, the expectations. "You came," he whispered. And for a few hours, time folded. She told him about her past, her struggles, her fears. "I almost didn't, but you did." They danced. He listened, and then he told her something that left her breathless. "I didn't just come back to the diner for Lily's waffles, Madeline. I came back for you." She looked into his eyes, searching for a crack, but there was none. Still, a storm was coming, because someone at that gala had plans, and it didn't involve Madeline staying in Mason's life. "I've seen you too, and I guess I kept coming back." Her daughter, Lily, now curled up beside her, had fallen asleep with her head resting against her arm. Across the table, Ethan, still in that same plain black hoodie, studied them both. "But maybe you're more important than you realize. Even when you looked tired, it reminded me of something I forgot existed. Not if they could help it." Claire sat at the edge of the booth, stirring her tea but barely drinking it. Said he wasn't ready to be a dad. He never looked back. "Not once. You didn't come here by accident, did you?" Claire asked softly, eyes narrowed. Ethan looked down at his coffee. "No. I've passed this diner before. She told me once, the world won't hand you anything, so you better be strong enough to earn it." He chuckled, then grew serious. "I think she'd like you, even if the rest of the world only sees numbers and titles." Claire's lips parted slightly. Her voice tightened. "Why? I don't know," he admitted. "Maybe because she looks so happy." Claire leaned back. "We're not a charity case." "I didn't say you were," Ethan replied, holding her gaze. She sighed, brushing Lily's hair from her forehead. "It's not easy raising a child alone." Ethan hesitated before asking, "Where's her father?" Claire's smile faded. "Gone before she was born." There was a long silence between them. Then Ethan whispered, "Would you believe me if I told you? I grew up the same way." Claire looked up. "My mom worked nights at a laundromat and cleaned office floors." Claire was silent for a beat. "I don't know who you really are, Ethan, but Lily, she sees something in you. She sees something real," he replied quietly. The next morning, Claire found an envelope slid under her apartment door. Inside was a single sheet. "This isn't charity, it's an opportunity. Come to this address at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Bring Lily in." Claire's first instinct was to panic. Her second, curiosity. She showed up the next to Jean's cardigan, Lily in a bright pink coat holding a juice box. They stood outside a tall mirror glass building downtown. "Are you sure this is the place?" Claire asked the receptionist when they stepped in. "Right this way," she smiled, as if expecting them. They were led to the top floor, and then the doors opened. Claire froze. The office was massive, sleek, modern, and at the far end, in front of a wall of glass that overlooked the skyline, stood Ethan. Only now, he wasn't wearing the hoodie. He wore a tailored suit. His hair was neatly styled. He looked powerful. Claire whispered. He stepped forward, voice gone. "My real name is Ethan Hayes, CEO of Stratix Technologies." Claire's mouth opened, but no words came out. "Because I was tired of the boardrooms, of people saying yes because they feared my title, not because they respected the man." "You asked why I was in that diner," he said. "I didn't know," Claire whispered. "I didn't want you to," he replied. "I needed someone to see me, and somehow Lily did." While Claire stood in stunned silence, Lily tugged on Ethan's sleeve. "But I liked it," and Mommy smiled again. "That never happens anymore." "Mr. Ethan," she asked, "does this mean you're not going to be my daddy for a day anymore?" Ethan knelt beside her, smiling gently. "Well, I think we already had our day, don't you?" Lily frowned. Claire turned away, embarrassed, but Ethan reached for Lily's hand. He said softly, "Maybe one day. If your mummy lets me, I'd like to try being there for more than just a day." Lily lit up like Christmas morning. "You mean like forever?" Ethan smiled at Claire. "Only if she says yes." Claire felt her heart stutter. It felt like it had already begun. It was too fast, too soon, too impossible. And yet, that night, Claire sat alone on her couch while Lily slept, long enough to know he gets bored. Fast, The city lights blinked outside her window. Her phone buzzed. You're a placeholder, a novelty. And when he has done playing house with the maid and her kid, he'll go back to the boardroom and pretend this never happened, or how much of it she feared might be true. A blocked number. She hesitated, then answered. You really think he's serious about you? A cold voice asked. Female. Shah, who is this? I'm someone who's known Ethan for a long time. Claire's chest tightened. I'm just warning you, the woman said. The call ended before Claire could respond. She sat in stunned silence, doubt creeping in like poison. She didn't know what was worse, the voice on the phone. The next morning, Claire didn't answer Ethan's texts, didn't return his calls. At lunch, a courier showed up at her apartment with a small package. Inside, a photo, Claire's old resume, annotated, highlighted, and a note written in Ethan's handwriting. I know your worth. Even if the world forgot, let me show you. Tears welled in her eyes, but another card fell out of the envelope. This one wasn't from Ethan. It was a glossy business card, elegant script. She helped build this company, but she never liked me stepping out of her shadow. Margot Vale, Executive Advisor, Stratix Technologies. Claire flipped it over. Written in red ink. You're not the first. You won't be the last. Are the first thing that's felt real in years. Claire showed up at the Stratix lobby the next day without an appointment. The receptionist blinked, startled, then paged Ethan. He came running down the hall, concern in his eyes. Claire, what's wrong? She held up the card. Who is Margot? Ethan's face darkened. She was my father's advisor, he said. She'd been fighting to protect Lily from a man who hurt more than he helped, and now she's trying to get in my head. He exhaled slowly. I'll handle it. Claire stepped closer. Ethan, I need to know, was any of this real? He looked her in the eyes. Claire, you and Lily. And she believed him. But Margot Vale, she wasn't done yet. The next day, Claire received an official-looking letter delivered to her job. Inside was a message written in legal language, but the meaning was clear. If you don't walk away from Ethan Hayes, the following information will be released to the press. Attached was a blurry photo of Claire from 5 years ago, tagging outside a courthouse. Her ex had sued her for custody. She'd won. But the case had been messy. The tabloids painted her as unstable. The truth, she dropped the letter on the table, heart pounding. Margot was blackmailing her. But why? Why go this far? Claire didn't run. She didn't cry. She got in a cab and headed straight to This time, she wasn't coming to ask Ethan questions. She was coming with answers. Margot wants me gone, she told him, because I'm not part of her world, because I remind you of what matters. Ethan stood silent. She thinks I'm weak, Claire added, but she has no idea who I became after being abandoned, after losing everything but my child. She dropped the blackmail letter on his desk. Ethan stared at it, then reached for his phone. Get Margot in here, now.